Why, hello there! This is Maxwell Kayla here today, and I'll be reading some poems I wrote. And so these are poems by me, and I hope you like them. I'm not really sure if they're any good or not, but I had fun writing them, so that's all that matters. So here we go. I'm not trying to be the aim to be the poet laureate. First poem, Ode to the Right Man, who I've yet to meet, so there's no ode to anyone if you think you're the right man. When this world turns blue, hold me. Let us flee for joy in said blueness, and let blue become the color of all that we are, and not all that we are not. When you turned back and I saw the stubble on your face grow weary and sigh, I knew I had fled with the right man. This one is called A Guide to Depression, The Art of Survival. The art of survival means sitting in bed from night of no sleeping, putting one sock on, then a torrent of thoughts and catatonia, a fierce reprisal from that, and then the Herculean task of one more sock. When hunger is simply a word one knew, but currently doesn't know, the act of survival says McDonald's is the biggest bang for your buck. To really survive, one must learn to become so delusional with hope they might as well have gone mad. The art of survival is simply to live until you just live. Here's another one. It's called Lost of Other Boys, Ode to a Toxic Community. I was really feeling it that day. Here we go. I take an objective stance. I walk down the hall. I stumble into the dark room, and I watch the boy sitting there sad alone. A boy that walked around finding other boys, stumbling in the dark, searching for connections, stumbling into men far more experienced. Men so broken that they too were boys lost in a dark room, yet they didn't know it, and they cursed said darkness by making the room darker than dark by finding fault in their fellow boy. These boys thought love was carnal, and being carnal meant being perfect, and being perfect meant being everything but nothing, and nothing that was joy. These boys went to the gym. These boys met each other online and put on a brave face and stumbled into cars of older gentlemen. These boys walked into rooms reeking of poppers and tried to laugh. These boys threw insults in the mirror that then reflected onto other boys off in the distance. Sometimes they stumbled so hard it became an art form and a life of stumbling. I take a subjective stance. I stumble down the hall. In the land of mirrors, I watch myself fling insults at what I see. Reflection stands madly off in the distance of other people's mirrors. Those insults become me, and me those insults. I found love in being carnal, and to me being carnal meant love, but even that was a bitch to be. And sometimes at the gym, the nagging feeling of regret would be so strong I'd chase it away with perfection, and that meant being everything and nothing that was joy. Nothing told me poppers can make your eyes go blind, and I too went blind. Stumbling in the dark, running into other boys that crawled in the cars of old men. One boy in particular tore me to pieces, and looking back, I feel remorse. Was he too a boy in the land of mirrors, reflecting hate bouncing back from land to land of mirrors? Did he too think being carnal meant being perfect, and being perfect meant nothing and nothing that was joy? I no longer take any stance, and the light goes on. Do you know joy? Are you carnal? If your perfection something I might enjoy, will you go in the dark to find the boy, or will you just walk in the dark beside him? Have I been subjective? Have I been objective? Can't I just forget it all and get lost with the other boys? My next one. Oh, to the boy that couldn't look me in the eye. The way you wouldn't look me in the eye saw me more than most. And when I asked what you admire about yourself and you stopped and said resilience, I know you were the right Frenchman to drop my pants to in the woods. Like boys that ran away from their parents, we talked of great things, everythings and nothings. I heard the West Coast was burning and you said the smoke could be seen above us in Connecticut. Tell me, was that why you couldn't open your eyes when we kissed? Remember we saw our privileged boat just drive on by while we watched the strangers from the woods? Did they see us? Would they care? Did that old man see you on your knees? Did he see me on my knees? It's funny how silent you get. I admire your resilience as part of me and you, and a part of you and me walks into our East Coast woods, not yet on fire. But you couldn't look me in the eye, but kept looking at me nonetheless. Well, I hope he doesn't realize that's about him. So, next one. Ode to animals in the park. I used to walk through the forest before I was told there was a better forest to walk through, and I know it is stupid now perhaps, but I used to admire how those trees were scattered everywhere and how the broken ones still hung around and somehow stood. Yet now I walk through the park. They call it a forest sometimes, I think. It's really crowded. I keep stumbling into crowded. I don't really admire how crowded, but at least there's no dead trees still hanging on. I'm told that's a good thing. They're very useless, as I am told. When I walked through the forest when I was dumb, I never really cared what I wore. I just felt comfortable. When I walk through the park, I make sure to have my Fitbit on me so I can fit the new clothes I had to buy. The park is very high fashion. I'm trying now to be smart and high fashion. Sometimes when I was dumb in the forest, I would chase after animals for no reason. Now I'm smart and have everything planned. I can only walk through this park for 25 minutes exactly because I have things to do. Once I got lost in the forest and had a blast, I watched the sun fall and smile. Now I'm in the park with 15 minutes left of my 25 minutes, and I have to know exactly what I'm doing or the park will close and close with me in it. When I went to the forest, I never really gave a shit where I took a piss. I pissed on everything, and sometimes I pissed even in the river. In the park, I never take a piss because it's not what people do in parks. The bathroom is never open, but I'm always washing my hands anyway. Boxcar Rebellion in the Beauty Monopoly. And they always say Maxwell never has complicated titles. Usually I just sit in my boxcar and follow wherever the train goes. I watch outside my window and watch all billboards advertising that new freezing fat reduction, Botox, some other shit I could possibly never afford, and a zoo exhibit I really want to go to. I'm one of this boxcar, and to it I'm really nothing but just a ticket, but they got my money, so it drags me. And it drags me. Maybe I'm just a ticket and a passenger, or maybe I'm just the ticket. Yet today this ticket went mad. This ticket walked right up to the passenger with the Botox, glaring down her frozen face and screamed, "Why?" Emotion she would have expressed if she had any. Then I walked right up to the guy writing down the number of the Freeze the Fat Off billboard. I gave him all I had. I gave him more. He was so thin I gave him as much as I could. And he laughed and he wrote it down anyway. In an attempt to calm down, I went back to my seat and saw that the zoo exhibit sign was gone. Now there was another poster advertising some new gym. I always wondered if those animals in the ad loved how they looked, or did they judge themselves bitterly? But those feral beasts, that roaring lion that entranced me in the sea of billboards was gone, so I no longer cared. This ticket sat down and looked at his arms and went, maybe I need the gym, and then looked at his eyes and said, maybe they've seen too much, I gotta get that fixed. He swears he heard the sound of animals in the background being put down, but he just shrugged it off and watched outside his window. To spin out. This illness may run fast, but watch me, I run quicker. Perhaps all the genes in the world and my wicked luck cursed me to throw all my savings on this race I must. For bankruptcy on this life is such a fate I would rather not discuss. Are we everything this illness says, or is this illness simply everything to us, and yet we're so much, much more? Sometimes it catches up to me and my whole world goes into a spin. This time I got my tracksuit on and a new pair of sneakers. Watch as I go all flash on this shit. Watch as I run alive, for that's all I've currently got. Now, ode to a thought, which I have many of. Here's to a thought that theft of joy, you're everything and really nothing, but I think you just the same. Some thoughts draw Venn diagrams in comparison. Some thoughts just jump out of the blue with memories of you to watch me shudder. Yet some thoughts run like bandits, how they inspire and lull you with thoughts of desire, how fleeting. Here's to a thought, either the thief of joy or joy itself. You make me everything and really nothing. Ode to a rabbit. Here's to that cute little brown rabbit I see every day as he hops outside the bush to munch on freshly wet grass. How I envy that little bitch. That's how much he saves on produce. Think of it. I've tried to get up close and have him tell me his secrets. Is it even a him, or does it not even know? From my bitter superior self, I watch knowing true superiority is simply the tyranny of bitterness. Someone told me rabbits live only a few years, and here I've lived 3 decades. Does it envy me? Does it even know the meaning of the word? Will that little rodent even rate me an ode? Mr. Bunny, I have a knack for running off in a flash, so quick one could say even my new iPhone can't catch it. One day he too will in that bush one last time jump, yet unlike he will never know it. Self-concept without adjectives. As that wildfire spreads fast, I take a run out into the field. As those bright blazing flames, they laugh, they dance. This body's flesh stands in shadow. That long list of adjectives that once tethered it burn up in flames. Watch, up in flames. These useless eyes go wide with a sight beyond sight. So blinded by the smoke, they finally see, they see. This mound of flesh walked towards the flames, led by an ancestral melancholy. Such innate sadness for the boy. All this stands silent, so still, so quiet, in a world without reference, facts and measure. Those wild flames run wild. To truly live in such a world illuminated by those bright and blazing, watch for once, I can laugh, I can dance. This one's called Clinical Depression, another fun title by Maxwell. Happiness stands as a fact one knows exists or existed, such as Rome was and is a fact. Sadness stands as a fact they know exists or existed, such as yesterday comes before tomorrow and tomorrow comes after yesterday. Yet am I a fact or subjective opinion, such as I have just read many a thing, or have I lived them? And that is my collection of poems. So these ones are kind of a little bit older and some of them are kind of new, but I hope you enjoyed them anyway, and I hope to write some more. Bye.